Hello, I am here with Brent Rising, dentist, clinical director, serial entrepreneur, and owner of multiple dental locations, EO Learning Chair, and president-elect of EO Nebraska. Brent, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
Brent, you just finished the Resilient Transformation Academy with some pretty amazing results. And I am just so happy that you're here to share your story with other people. And I'd love for you to share with those that are listening, what were some of the challenges that you were facing before you enrolled in our program?
Yeah, sure. It was kind of a whole, I don't know, I'll say a mess of things. And it some of it was starting with like personal, a lot around having low energy and not sleeping well and not prioritizing things for like self-care and exercise and eating. But then I think that had some ripple effect on how I was with energy levels and behaviors and attitudes towards my businesses and family, wife and kids, that kind of thing. So yeah, I kind of I'd have some wins, but then some, take some back pedals in life and yeah, I just kind of felt like I was spinning my wheels at times and it
So,
wasn't quite yeah, go ahead.
what was your main motivation for doing the program? It sounds like you were facing a lot, but what was the thing that you were looking to do when joining the program?
Yeah, I just felt like I had more potential, but I wasn't really fully being able to like express that or live that life. And yeah, um, I just felt like there's more to it that I felt like I was capable of, but I just didn't know like what avenues to go down or how to go about it. And so it was kind of more of an exploratory avenue, and I'm sure glad I did. Hmm.
Well, you explored some pretty unique things in this academy, and I'm sure that you had tried a lot of other things in the past to get to where you wanted to go with not really the results that you were looking for. So, tell me how this program was different than what you had tried in the past.
Sure, yeah. I think a lot of the things I've tried in the past were a lot around doing more and go, go, go. And there's to increase your potential is to you got to learn more, do more, be more. And what I found then with going through this resilience academy thing was in a way it kind of felt like doing less and less became more. So less was more. And it was about slowing down and being intentional and really winning by doing less and kind of being less distracted and with less noise and in my life and that really seemed like it was a different pathway. Like all the other prior things that I've tried have really been focused on. I'm like the story I kept telling myself was that I'm not doing enough. I need to do more, So I listen to more audiobooks, listen to Audible, listen to more podcasts. I got even to the point where like I was listening to everything at 1.8x speed just so that I could get through more of them. And but then in that process I would just like so wiry and I would just be just living on coffee and eating pretty poorly because I was just trying to do it quickly so that I could have more time to like take more in and have more meetings and acquire more businesses. And it kind of started to become kind of a downward spiral and it wasn't serving me well anymore.
Wow, so you feel like you were doing less but achieving more. So, can you talk about some specific things that you accomplished during this time? Because I remember when we talked, it was like you were saying that I
Mhm.
need to break these old patterns of working too much. Like, what
Yeah.
did you do? How did you break those patterns?
Yeah. I'll give an example. Like I was just um, really just historically a yes man. I mean, no matter what it was, buy a business or go on a trip or help somebody or commit. It was really a lot of like overcommitment, but I just couldn't help but say yes to everything. and that came at a cost to my health, physical fitness, eating, sleep, especially. But then I really had a low energy too, so I was and I was kind of like spread so thin because of so many overcommitments and over too many yeses that I just kind of you know I was running on fumes for so long, uh and and uh and by kind of going through this process, I was able to, by being intentional about slowing down, focusing on breath work and kind of quieting the noise and distractions in my life and removing so many stimulants, uh, that it allowed me to kind of regather my thoughts and my and just my whole composure and reestablish some things that I had been, not paying attention to. And so I'm still a yes person, but it's not yes to everything. It's just yes to the right things. And so, um, some people say like it's a no unless it's a hell yeah, and that's kind of where I've kind of become. And but in that process, it's really given me some more mental clarity and and also just with this in this whole academy I've gotten some tools and like learning the green light language and heart focused breathing and several other tools to really improve some of the things that I had been lacking, but also giving me the mental space to slow my roll and really prioritize the things that are really important to me. And then uh, that has then kind of had a positive upward effect. So then not being at effect to my business, or not feeling guilty if I'm working out during the day or not. But then and then really a big one too is getting kind of completely transforming my morning and evening routines. When I wake up in the morning before I go to bed, and then even in between meetings or in between going to uh, uh, different business functions or locations, instead of always having to be occupied and entertained, I'm trying to find some time to get back to composure and kind of recenter myself and some grounding to kind of recenter myself for the day and kind of check back in. And so that kind of less but better is what I'm kind of finding.
Wow, you had so much in there, and I'm sure that people might be listening to this and picking up on a couple of key things that you said, like my mental space is different because we can have a
Yeah.
lot of noise going on in our mental space. And it sounds to me like you were able to prioritize what was important to you, turn off the noise or the static on the mental terminology, and then be able to fully align and commit to those things that were driving your goals and what your priorities were.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like then instead of kind of either a stuck or spinning my wheels or kind of having a downward spiral, that it was almost like a reset where starting my day with or even going to bed with like affirmations or something like that, or going to bed with doing a little meditation or some inner balance kind of work, then kind of set the stage for some good sleep. And then even where I had been maybe having some sleepless nights because being so much at effect of things, and kind of learning some tools to deal with that, so that then I had and also when I prioritized exercise, that also allowed me to sleep better in tandem with some of those other breath work tools and some other affirmations and such. But then what that did is not only did I prioritize exercise, it allowed me to sleep better. And then when I slept better, it gave me more energy during the day. And especially if I started my day off with a good morning routine, and then focusing in on like positive emotions throughout the day, especially if I was like kind of sensing and checking in with my body, if I'm like kind of going into a dark place, that I could kind of pull myself back up. And but then I felt like too, I was able to then bring a lot more energy to my business, to my teams, to my family, to my spouse and kids. And so that's kind of what I meant like with an upward spiral. So it was kind of a complete shift for me.
Wow, I love what you said about that. If I caught myself going into a dark place, you could shift and reset and go into that upward spiral. Before this program, how long would you have stayed in that dark place? And then how quickly can you move out of it into that coherent state?
Yeah, it varied, but I mean, it could be a ripple effect, and there's so many things that I just could either take personally or just they would just wear on me, and it would just sometimes last for days, and it would just really take from sometimes like I'd have to like go on a trip or like go do something completely to get out of that mindset to like kind of like have a hit the reset button. But now I can do it pretty quickly now. I can be in a matter of 5 minutes. And just, yeah.
Wow, a matter of 5 minutes. And you think about how much time that we waste when we're having to go do something externally to bring ourselves back into alignment. And now you're able to do it in 5 minutes, and you're not doing it with anything external. Are you doing this all from the inside based on what you learned?
Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of, it's been an acquired and maybe some learned behaviors too. I didn't just pick it up like a light switch, like on day one, but with some intention and practice behind it and working, over the course of several months with it feels like it's just gotten better and better. It's kind of refining that I feel like almost like a life skill now.
And how are you going to use this moving forward?
Oh man, so many ways. Well, first off, my kids, their ages are 10, 5, and 5, and I've been sharing all this information with my kids every morning. I drop them off at school in the morning. We'll do our morning gratefuls together and our affirmations, and sometimes even some breath work in the car because we live out of town, so it takes like 25 minutes to get to school. So we use that time pretty effectively now, and so my kids now they know what the difference between green light language and red light language is, and and but they even call me out on it too if I say something they it's kind of it's pretty funny to hear a 5-year-old call you out on red light language. And but it's been great because it's become kind of part of our family nomenclature now, but also at work too. I do a whole lot of strategic planning sessions with all the different entities that I'm a part of, um and now knowing different ways to knowing what red light, even yellow light language is, and how to structure a future that is really more intentional. And even in with affirmations too, I went back and I thought I had a pretty good idea of my affirmations, and I went back and read them and realized that there was a lot of like red light and yellow light language even in my morning and evening affirmations. And so I've completely changed those around too. And now that I know this, when I hear it in others, and I don't like try to change other people, but I'm very aware of it. And so when I see other people either in a stuck in their life or struggling, but then I hear the way they talk and see the words that they're writing on an email or something, and it just hit me like, I know exactly why you're in this position in your life now. And so yeah, I'm becoming hyper aware of it.
We create with our words. Our words are very powerful. And it sounds like you did a whole internal restructuring, reprioritize some things, got in
Yep,
alignment with your actions and behaviors and emotions, which are a big key of this.
yep,
And
yep.
it has been such a pleasure to watch your success and your transformation. And thank you for sharing your story. Is there anything that you want to leave the audience with?
Uh, yeah, I would say trust the process. I got referred by a friend who said it was life changing for him. And so I went in and I was like, okay, I'll trust the process. Uh, and right away I didn't fully like surrender to all this, but then after learning about it, and I love that I'm come from a science background, and so to hear all the science that comes in to support all this, that was really what helped convince me and believe it. Now I totally, you know, practice it and I've bought in to the philosophy of it, and so the science is really what kind of helped get me the buy-in, coming from a science background, and And so that I guess that's what I would share, is that really helped me understand.
Well, welcome to the other side of it. And now you have control from the inside out versus the outside in. It's just been such a pleasure working with you. And thank you for sharing your journey and your transformation. You really made a lot of significant changes. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.